Hello and welcome. This is the second set of videos which explains all about the electronic stop labelling project. This second group of videos is actually concerned with showing you how to get your data to label your stops into the system. Hopefully you've already built the project, but what you need to know is the best ways of getting it set up. Now you'll see here we've loaded the St Anne's organ, and in fact the stop text has already been entered because I want to show you how the stop text actually looks when you've entered it all, and that will be our starting point. The second video will show you how to enter the text data for the St Anne's organ when you're starting from scratch with no textual data there at all. Now if you wish to edit or create your stop text data in Hauptwerk version 7, you must select menu organ settings and then MIDI LCD panel control for this organ. However, if you're still running version 4, you will find the MIDI LCD panel entry under Advanced MIDI Applications in the drop down that's just below where we are. So let's click on that and you can see what's come up here. What's come up is the dialog for LCD panel control, and you can see that it's got absolutely dozens upon dozens of entries, and these are in pairs, so you can see there's 246s, 247s, 248s. They go to 64 that are required for the standard stop labeling process. In fact, these 61, the pair 61, 62, 63 and 64 do not actually label stop text at all. What they're responsible for is putting that information at the top of the stop jam, which the name of the organ and the names of the divisions and so on. But the rest, right to the 60th pair, are all available, 120 of them, for labelling stops. And you will see that I'm going to advise that what you should do when you configure an organ, you should generate every one of those before you start entering the stop text. I really do advise you to do that, even if you're working with a rather smaller organ like the St Anne's. Generate every label, but of course you can leave those blank that you're not going to use. Let's have a look at number 1 here. Number 1 and number 2 in the St Anne's organ, they actually contain the same stop text. Why? This is because the first number 1, if you look, it sends its data to the right jam, and the second one here sends it to the left jam. Now it doesn't much matter which way you choose, which order you choose to actually put the right and the left, but be consistent once you've decided. So in this case, the first of each pair is the right jam and the second of each pair is the left jam, and that's the MIDI output. Now when I get to show you how to enter all this data, we're going to have to use shortcuts with this, because it would take us all day if we didn't use shortcuts. And what we're going to do using these shortcuts is we're going to generate these entries in here, and then we're going to actually select every alternate one, right? So in this case we would select all of the first in each pair like that. See, they're a little bit blue, so they're selected, and we would then allocate those members of each pair to the right stop jam by selecting the right stop jam there. Okay, and then what we would do is highlight the other member of each pair, in which would be the second one. I'm going to just do that now and show you, right? And we've actually defined these to send their data to the left stop jam. So you can see that was selected there. Right, but we're not going to make any changes to this. We're not going to enter any data because it's already been done. All I want to do is to show you what the data looks like. MIDI output port is either the left jam or the right jam, right? Now in my case it says Arduino do a for the right, and for the left it says just straight Arduino do a. Now I'm running, amazingly enough, I'm running a prototype version of the software from which first went into operation in 2020, and you will have a different version. You will have a new version. This is version 3.2 something. You will have version 3.6 because there have been advances since then. And one of the advances is that each Arduino that you receive has the label right or left built into it. So it won't be referred to by Hauptwerk as Arduino do a. It will come up as KAS Labs, right, 36L or 36R. L being for the left jam and R being for the right jam. If you take the ready built one, all that will have already been sorted out for you. Right, look at the data then. Let's see what we've got. We've got the MIDI output port there, and then we've got the LCD number. In this case, LCD 001. Now, LCD 001 is the first stop text label on the appropriate jam as defined here. And that one, in the case of the left jam, it's actually the inside nearest the console at the top are running down the right hand side of the first column. But if we look at this one here on the right jam, that LCD 001 will be on the left hand column of the double inner column. So there we've got the MIDI port, then we've got the LCD number. Let's just go to number 2 here. You see LCD 002. That's the individual label number, and you go for the LCD number, not the ID in the that might appear here. It's that one, because that's 0 based and that's 1 based. Okay, and we're working 1 based. Don't worry about the lamp color. It's 001. Don't change it. If you make a mistake and you change it for too many, you may have a problem with your Arduino, because the reason is that if you change it to 2, it cause inversion, so that what is normally appearing white in the text and the background black, if you change that code, it will actually make the whole of the background white and the text black. Now that sounds all well and good, but the trouble with that is that the OLED consumes hugely more power that way than it does this way, and we've got a little leeway with the Arduinos with the power that they're using to drive this, but we haven't got that much power to drive everyone at full brightness, so you're advised not to do that. Right, let's just then go down to here. This is the display format of the first line and the display format of the second line. Now, the display format of these lines are the same, and they come from this list, the drop down list here, and fortunately it's the first one on the list, so every stop text label has to be defined with this particular value here. So you just select it, and you can select it on all of them at once. You can highlight the whole lot of these and you can select it on all of them at once, on line 1 and on line 2, and that will save you some time. Mind you, there's a bit of bad design going on behind the scenes, because this software, which then loads these values into these dialogues, can make your PC look as though it's hung, but it hasn't. You just have to sit tight and wait until it finishes, and the more of these you select to change these, the longer it will take. Then here we have the text. Now the totality is 32 characters between the two lines of that are provided on this dialogue, but as you may have noticed, there's 3 lines in some of the displays, and we we may wish to break the line at points different from these two dialogue entries. Let's see if we can find one of these that illustrates the point. There's one that illustrates the point. Contra fagotto 16 foot. We can't actually fit all of that on one line of this, and we also can't fit contra fagotto 16 on one line of our OLED. So we split the line, and we use the caret, that symbol, will split the line for you so that on the OLED it will go to a new line. And that's how that's done. Now you have to have a caret in there somewhere. So if you discover that you don't need it because the entire entry will go on one line, such as here, label number 3, trumpet 8 foot, you just end that line with the caret. And if this has taken up all the 16 characters available on the first line and you can't fit the caret in, you put it on the first on the first character of the second line there. I'm sure I'll be able to, if I move down here, I'm sure I'll be able to find one where we've done that, you know, but can I? Maybe, who knows? But you can see every one of those contains a caret somewhere. It's got to, otherwise you'll be in trouble. And you can be very imaginative here as to how you organise these and how you might put spaces in. But if you want to put spaces before the text, you must put a dot in, because otherwise Hauptwerk ignores the spaces. You know, just one of those things, isn't it? If you do that and you put the caret right at the beginning of the first line, then that data will be shown on the second line on the OLED, which might suit you. Sometimes if you've got problem with perspective, cover it, making it difficult to read the whole of the line, or if you just aesthetically prefer it to be on the bottom, you can do that. So there you are. That's what it looks like when you've finished entry of the text. Okay, let's cancel that. Normally, of course, what you do is you click on OK and save all the data, but we cancelled it because we didn't want to change anything. So now we've had a look at what an existing set of stop texts look like in the St Anne's organ. We're now going to load another copy of Hauptwerk, which this time does not have any stop text set up, and we're going to go through the processes of creating the stop text from scratch for the St Anne's organ. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.